Hi everyone, welcome back to iFashi. Today's tutorial will be teaching us how to draft and sew a shirt collar. This video is strictly for how to cut and attach a collar to a shirt. So before we go ahead and start drafting on our paper, we first of all have to measure round the neck of our shirt. Before you start drafting a collar, you must have made the shirt that you're attaching the collar to. So first of all, I'm going to measure round the neck of my shirt. On this shirt, we have 19 inches all around. Now we're going to fold our paper into two and take 19 inches, which is 19 divided by 2. So the paper is folded, so I'm going to measure 9.5, which is half of 19. So this is a two-piece collar. So we're going to have the collar stand and the collar itself. So first of all, I'm going to start with the collar stand. I'll take my 9.5 measurement with my paper on fold, don't forget, and then I'll mark it out and cut off the excess. And then on this paper, I'm going to label the collar stand so that I'll know the one I'm drafting first. Now, after labeling, the next thing I'm going to do is to start taking the collar stand measurement. This collar stand is not supposed to be too wide. So after marking out the 9.5, we're going to find the midpoint of this 9.5, which I just did. And then on this midpoint, at the edge of one side of my paper, I'm going to go up by 0.5 because I want to slant that 0.5 to meet up with this midpoint that I just marked out. So this is to give my collar a slant. So after marking out this slant, from this slant, I'm going to take 1 inch measurement all over to the end of my paper, even on the side that I did not slant. So this gives our collar stand a slight curve. Now after taking that 1 inch measurement, I marked it out, and then from that, at the side that I went up with 0.5 on the curved part, I came in by 0.5 and then we gave it a little curve. Just use your hand to give it a curve, and then I'm going to now cut out. After cutting out, this is what we are going to have as our collar stand. Now we're going to keep that aside and then draft the collar itself. For the collar itself, I'm trying to get a straight end of this paper before I start taking my measurement. Now that this paper is straight, I'm going to go up by 2.5 inches. We don't want our collar to be too big. So 2.5 is just enough for me. So I'm marking out that 2.5 from the end of my paper upwards, 2.5. And then from one side of the paper, I came in by 1 inch. On that 1 inch, I'm going to slant it to meet the end on the upper part. Just watch the screen and see how I'm doing. I did not want to use my straight ruler. I used my slight curve ruler to mark out that collar edge. So now the shape of our collar is coming out already. But on the other edge, we'll have to give it a slant by going up by 0.5. So that 0.5, you're going to come in by 3 inches to give it a slant, just like we did for the collar stand, just that this time we did not get the midpoint of our paper. Our slant ended at 3 inches. So this is our main collar. I'll go ahead now and cut it out. Watch the video closely to understand. It is very, very simple to draft. Now, after cutting out our collar, this is what you're supposed to have. We have the collar stand and we have the collar itself. If you want a bigger size of collar, you can take more than 2.5, but for me, 2.5 is just enough for the collar itself. And then the collar stand is 1 inch. So now we're going to go ahead and cut. This is what I have. I did not want to start taking our time showing the cutting. I've already gone ahead to cut on my fabric. Now, before you cut on your fabric, endeavor to iron a collar stay to it. Attach a collar stay or a hard stay just to make it firm. I'm working with a chantilly, so I've ironed my air stay to it. I don't want it to be too strong. I cut 2 pieces of each. The collar is 2, the collar stand is 2. Now let's go and start joining. To start with, we are going to join the collar first. Now for us to join the collar, we're going to face the 2 good sides of the collar facing each other, as you see me doing on your screen. And the side we're going to join is the upper part. Place your pattern paper on it so you don't get confused. Don't turn the down part. Turn the upper part of the collar, which is the longest part. So we're going to place the 2 good side of the fabric facing each other, and then we'll make a stitch. After stitching, you make a top stitch on the one that you'll be using as lining. If your two fabrics are not the same, which means one is main fabric and one is lining, you're top stitching on your lining. I'm using the same fabric because the back and front of my collar is the same fabric, so automatically I will use one as lining and one as main fabric. Now after making the straight stitch down, the next thing is to top stitch on the one that is going to serve as your lining. After top stitching, this is what you're going to have. Endeavor to cut off all the rough threads and edges and then iron your work. But before we go iron, the next thing we're going to do is to turn the sides. The sides are still open, so we're going to flip it to the wrong side and close down the two sides. So after closing down the two sides, the next thing is to trim off these edges, the excess and the bunch on the edge, so that when you flip it out, this part I'm cutting, you have to cut it off so that when you flip it out, it will be very, very neat. Now this is what we have after closing the two edges. Endeavor to push out the edge of this collar, these sharp edges. Endeavor to push it out after giving it a good trim on the inside. Now that our collar is ready, the next thing we're going to do now is to start working on the collar stand. Now for this collar stand, is very tricky and very simple as well. You just have to understand it. You know, we have two pieces, one as lining and one as main fabric. So we're going to keep the one that will serve as lining aside. We'll keep it aside and work on the one that we use as main fabric. So on this collar stand, we have a curved edge. We are not going to fold that edge. It is this part that is straight, the down part. You know, when we were cutting, you added your seam allowance. So the seam allowance on the down part, which is the straight part, not the curved part of your collar stand, that's where we're going to fold in. We're going to fold it in to make it very neat. Some persons use hemming gum to just iron it down, press it down, but I prefer to stitch it down. This is what you're going to have after stitching it down. Very neat, neatly stitched. Make sure your stitch is neat because it's going to show. Now, after stitching it, the next thing we're going to do is to fold it and notch the midpoint so that we will know the middle. So after notching the midpoint, we're going to notch the midpoint of our collar as well. Now, this is time to attach our collar stand to our collar. So fold your collar into two, notch the midpoint, and then place the two good sides together. Place the good side of the collar stand facing the collar and then sew it down. But before we sew, remember the lining has not been attached. The lining will come under, but before that, we're going to fold it into two and notch the middle as well so that we will know the middle. After notching the midpoint, place your collar stand lining down and then place these two on top. With that, you will have your collar in between the two collar stands, as you see me doing on the screen, as you can see. And make sure the collar stand, the curved part is aligned and the straight part is aligned. So the part that we are sewing now is the curved part, not the straight part. You know, we folded the straight part of the main fabric. So now, after making that straight stitch, the next thing you're going to do is to sew the curved edges. Just watch what I'm doing on your screen and do it. After sewing the edges, take your measurement to be sure you still have your 19 that you measured from your shirt. Whatever measurement you had from your shirt, take your measurement to be sure you are not short. That's why it's good to add your seam allowance and follow the seam allowance that you took when you're sewing. Now after that, we're going to fold it to the right side, and this is what you have. The next thing is now to go give it a very good press so that it will stop raising. Now I've ironed. This is what I have. The collar stand has been joined to the main collar. As you can see on your screen, we have one side that is folded and one that is not. The one that is not folded will serve as our lining, remember. Now we'll introduce our shirt. Notch the midpoints of your shirt at the back. Fold your shirt into two, give it a notch like I did. Now the part that we'll be attaching to this shirt first is the part that is the lining part of our collar stand. So we're going to notch it so that we'll know the middle. Not the part that we folded. You know our collar stand has two. We folded one in and we did not fold the other. So now the one that we did not fold is the one that we're attaching to the neck of this shirt first. So we're attaching both, but just watch. After notching the midpoint, you pin it down. Pin down the collar to the shirt. After pinning at the middle, come to the edge and stitch it. Make sure it's equal. Watch what I'm doing on your screen. As you can see, make sure the two edges are equal. The edge of your collar and the edge of your shirt. Make sure it's equal and stitch it down at that edge. Make a short stitch there. Check if it's aligned and you are good to go. Now go to the other edge of the collar as well, which is also the edge of the shirt. Stitch down that part to secure the two edges of the collar and the shirt together. After securing that, you can now start joining. So I'm making a joining from one edge of the collar now to the other edge. This is how you attach your collar to your shirt. Very easy. Now remember why we have not attached the second part. We're only attaching the lining. The part of the collar stand that we folded in, we've not attached it. Make sure your seam is very neat and straight. So this is what you're going to have when you're done attaching the first one. Now remember the other side that we folded in. This is the point where you use it to cover all the roughness inside of your clothes. Like I did with the other collar, I started with the edge. Just to be sure these two edges are aligned. Watch your screen. Now if you're folding in this beginning and you notice you have a bulge or a swell, cut off the excess inside. That is what is causing it. Watch what I just did. I cut it off and then it will lay very flat. Align it, make sure it's equal in the beginning and start stitching. And when you're stitching, be very careful because your stitch is going to show at the back. So make sure your stitch aligns with the stitch you made before for the first one. For this back part I'm showing you now. So when you're stitching this front, that is using the one we turned to cover all the rough. Push all of the seams inside and make a straight stitch down. That is it. Very, very simple. Remember to subscribe if you haven't subscribed to our channel. Like this video, share it. It might be useful to others out there. Now cut off all your threads and this is what you have. Very, very neat. Very, very simple. Let us know in the comment section how yours came out. So our collar is fixed, our collar is attached to our shirts, and this is what we have. The only remaining thing in this shirt now that the collar has been attached is to fix our buttons. So I told you earlier I'm working with a chantil. If you're working with another fabric, endeavor to add a hard stay or collar stay to your collar to make it stand firm. This is the button I'll be attaching to this shirt, and that will be all for this shirt. The tutorial of this shirt and shorts will be coming up next. So remember to subscribe and stay tuned to the channel. You will learn how we made these shorts with an elastic waistband at the back and zipper at the side. And then how we cut and sew the shirt and the shorts. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye!